Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Dropping Knowledge with Noah. And in this edition, we're going to be talking all about AI. And I brought a very special guest, uh, world's exclusive Mo Zahabi on the line here. Mo is actually the guy who hired me to my current role and is responsible for all my continued success. So I'm very excited to have him join us. But, I think one reason I'm bringing Mo on is because of his deep expertise in the AI space around, prompt engineering, digesting consumer data and providing insights, all sorts of cool stuff when it comes to AI and how dealerships can utilize it to really enhance their overall operations, provide a better experience for their shoppers. So Mo, welcome to the show. Why don't you just give us a quick intro as to your experience and what brings you here today?
Hey,
Thanks for
what's up?
having me, Noah. And just to be clear, Noah's success is attributed to him, and I think we all know that. If anybody's ever had to work with him, who gets it. Yeah, a little bit about me. My background's a little bit diverse. I started in automotive sales. Actually, prior to that, I started in telecom and install. So I was running a telecommunications company using my actual background in computer science to do installs. We did all the major cut-in for Time Warner when they first did their actual, cable internet. We did all that, all the routing, and I quickly realized I did not want to do that forever, and jumped into what was really the family business. My dad was in car sales for about 40 years, and for those of you who are familiar, I do have a younger brother who works in the org that runs the MSS sales side. So, around the business our whole lives, worked in a lot of different roles in the dealership. And, luckily for me, my background really aided me in the industry because it was in the infancy stage when I jumped in as far as like internet went, websites, just a different way of selling to customers. But, I was pretty ambitious at the time, got in at the right time and ended up moving to a large dealer group. And through that process, I actually got introduced to bin solutions, looking for a better way to do our inventory. I ended up being about their fourth customer. And then when I decided time to leave automotive and I wished them all goodbye, I got on the phone to do that and they hired me. And I had been with Bin Solutions. I started a couple days after Chase, which he likes to brag about. I think it's 2 days. And we were actually competing internet directors across the street from each other. So we had known each other for a while. But I've been with Bin ever since. I rolled through a bunch of different roles here. I started out in support, moved to operations, ended up as a VP of operations, and ultimately moved over to sales when we started the product consulting teams, recognizing that it wasn't just about sales, it was about having subject matter experts and getting buy-in from customers and then letting the salespeople go close them. So I've been with Cox now for 17 years, so right about 30 years total automotive experience. But I do appreciate you having me on today, Noah. Thank you.
Yeah, love it. All right, so let's just jump right into these questions. And full disclosure, I did use AI to come up with these questions, since that is the theme of the podcast. And hopefully, it's not directing us to, having it take over the world. We'll see. But the first question is, I think a lot of dealers and people in general just assume that AI is Chat GPT, right? But we know that it's a lot more than just that. So what are some common misconceptions about AI in car dealerships that we're seeing today?
Hey,
Yeah,
what's
I
up?
think there's a couple of different ones. One is the misperception of what it really is. There's a lot of people that do. They think it's a chat bot, something that communicates with the customer. And part of it is also due to like keywords that they hear. They hear things like predictive analytics, which is really just using your existing data to kind of predict the future by reformulating and restructuring it. And then what we have is predictive insights. It's a little bit different. They need to start to understand that predictive insights really outweigh predictive analytics because they actually blend in the behavioral data to show us changes, the things that we can't see. Because as a consumer, if you walk into a dealership and I help you, I can see your body language. I know how you react to things. I can watch what you're looking at. Not the same online. And I think that's one of those areas where dealers don't really recognize that they have a definite advantage if they capitalize on that data. And then I think there's some other misperceptions, around AI is going to replace my job and get rid of the human element. I think that's the biggest misconception you can have with AI. AI isn't designed to replace people. It's designed to do repetitive tasks that slow people down and make us more efficient. And the truth is, the people who use AI better are the ones that are going to succeed. So it's not going to replace your job. It may make it a little bit different, but it definitely won't replace it. The other side, I think, is AI is too expensive and complex, and many believe that AI, it's too big and it's not scalable for a smaller dealership and a smaller budget. And I think there are a lot of smaller user-friendly AI elements that dealers can use that they'll benefit from.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think you could just start by talking to your chat GPT and asking it questions about how to run your business more effectively and just have that conversation. And like the free version is pretty great. It does a lot of good stuff. But then there's, so much more beyond that. So, just start dipping your toes into the waters and seeing what it does for you. It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's time to turn the page. Otherwise, you get stuck on that one page. You think everything's the same, and you got to look at the other pages in the book before you make that determination.
Yeah, 100%. So let's dive into, how can AI kind of enhance the customer experience in car dealerships? And, how does it help dealers understand, those customer preferences and behaviors? Like, where does it kind of come in and help those dealers do a better job of what they do every day?
I mean, I think that's it. I mean, the answer to that's going to be different based on who you pose the question to. Because I think if you're talking to a marketing person versus a salesperson in the dealership versus maybe somebody in a service bay, there's going to be, different things that get enhanced. So like from a marketing perspective, I think there's a lot of benefits to both sides. Now, the consumer, there's also benefits to the operation side of things where using AI, I'm not wasting all that time and effort and demoralizing my staff by communicating with customers when I don't need to. And I think that the benefit on the other side is known. I'm not touching base with that customer or bothering them with offers that don't apply. So, there are advantages there, but being able to recommend things like relevant vehicles or creating a tailored shopping experience for a customer, to me, is probably the biggest way that we can enhance the customer experience. I think that we can do things like enhancing the salesperson as well as the customer again with things like chatbots, virtual assistants, really helping nurture leads as well as, maybe producing some leads in the long run as well, by guiding customers through the buying process. And I think you and I've talked about the future of this with maybe we use avatars to do some of that too and, help customers. So I think there's also things like predictive maintenance, like being able to detect potential vehicle issues before they become real big problems, using things like Vision AI, for example, to go ahead and accomplish those things. So I think there's benefits everywhere in the dealership. It just really dependent upon the role and how we apply them.
It's huge. I think, you really hit the nail on the head earlier too, when you were talking about like misconceptions about, people think, oh, AI is just going to take over from people altogether. And really, like you said, it's able to just do those repetitive tasks that people aren't really good at. Like it hasn't really gotten to that level where it's good at being a person, right?
No.
For the most part, like, like it's a pretty good chat, right? And it's really good at doing some initial prospecting, but there's still that handoff. And, I don't think that AI is going to shake a customer's hand when they walk into the dealership, or build that value of working at the deal, or bringing your vehicle into service at the dealership, take them on a tour of the dealership, or take them on a test drive. So, like you said, it's going to be that. It's I like to say it's like your little personal R2D2 that's just there helping you out in whatever you need it.
Yeah, it still needs guidance, and it's going to have issues with contextual things. I mean, it's not a person. It's never going to be a person. But like you and I talk about all the time, this is as dumb as AI is ever going to be. It's just going to get better. But a lot of it comes back from us giving feedback to models and saying, hey, that wasn't right, or that was exactly what we were looking for to make it that much smarter.
Yep. So what are some ways that you're seeing AI being used to, improve that sales process in car dealerships? And you kind of talked about it a little bit, but what are some ways that you're seeing right now dealerships are kind of using AI to, improve prospecting, improve, the answering customers' questions, or, desking deals. So like how are things, working out with AI in that regard?
Well, I think, I mean, if we use Cox Automotive as an example, we're doing a real good job with that because we've been able to develop AI algorithms that analyze data from not only previous, interactions, but previous behavior that we see online to anticipate the dealer's need or the customer's needs and then tailor those recommendations back to them. And that's evident in tools like predictive insights, for example, where, we're able to go out and pinpoint that customer that's ready to buy right now and tell you the vehicle that they're interested in. And we're right, we're accurate using the tools, the identity graphs that we work with. I think that's one of the biggest, things that we can do to really change, the behaviors of not only, our customer, but our dealers as well. And of course, being able to segment based off of things like behavior or preferences, even things like demographics, so that we're much more targeted in our marketing campaigns. And what people don't think about when we talk about that, because we always talk about how we can put these pools of data out there and go after them. But at the same time, we eliminate the unnecessary pool of customers that are often, over inundated with, messages that don't apply to them, which means that as a salesperson, though, you go follow up with a dead end repeatedly in a dealership, and you waste not only the money that went into putting that campaign together and sending it out, but compound it by following up and giving your time and effort into it as well.
100%. Just think about even the customer experience when you've got a salesperson calling you when you're not interested in buying a car. All of a sudden, you've got a negative relationship with that dealership because they've wasted your time, right? We've all received that phone call out of the blue saying, "Hey, it's your car's birthday. Would you like to buy another car?" And you're like, "Hey, I'm kind of busy right now. Like, don't waste my time." So it's a two-pronged thing, right? Not only are you saving your salespeople their time and effort and frustration, but you're actually providing a better experience for your customers because you're only calling the ones who are actually interested in what you have to sell at that very moment. And I think that ties back to, are the golden, goal of like advertising is getting the right message to the right person at the right time. Well, when you can digest all this behavioral data, turn it into actionable information and activate that salesperson at that right time. I mean, just think about the improvement in success rate overall.
Yeah, and the other side of that is also, I mean, there's aspects of, I mean, being able to understand when your customer's back in market before they identify to you that they're back in market, so that you're in better alignment with where the customer is, and you're not missing out on that opportunity to sell them. Plus, when you have that much data on a customer, it will drive down the days to sale. And when you do that, you open up more opportunity for yourself, because if I'm constantly chasing a customer and it takes me 20 days to sell that customer, that means that time and effort wasn't applied to another customer. So I want to get customers into that funnel, through that funnel as fast as I can, so I can start to focus on other customers in that funnel.
100%. And, just think about what about how AI can improve your in-store process, right? Can we improve the throughput of your dealership? So instead of spending 3 to 4 hours per transaction, right? So think about how many, appointments you can schedule on a Saturday, right, to sell cars. Instead of that, being 3 to 4 hours, maybe an hour. Think about how many more people you can get into the dealership and out of the dealership. All of a sudden, you're turning your tables way faster and selling more cars overall. Yeah. And that's just, using AI to improve your processes overall, getting better insight into those shoppers. So when they do come in, what vehicle they're interested in, or maybe what their switch car might be. So if that initial deal doesn't work out, you can get them into that less expensive car that they want, right? There's just so many different ways that you can use the tools at your disposal to enhance things for everyone. Absolutely. So let's put on our, our future vision goggles and think about, how do you see the role of AI evolving in the car dealership industry in the next decade? Like, all right, hey, we're doing a lot of cool stuff right now. Where are things going to be going down the road?
Hey,
I
what's
mean, there's a lot of different places we could go with it. For me, you see some of this stuff already happening, like direct to consumer. Being able to facilitate online and virtual showrooms, and that's something that we're doing right now with Deal Central, which kind of flips the traditional model on its head because we kind of kept the customer in the dark in the past, and then now we're not. We're kind of letting them drive it. And you and I have had conversations about this before. It's like, does I don't want my salespeople desking deals. Well, they're not. They're just driving that process that you put in place. Your customers making offers, but you're still driving the deal as a dealership. I think that's a big part of it. I think that you'll see more facilitation, not only of online sales, but the virtual showroom. And I think you'll see that expand a lot. I think that you'll end up seeing, because this is really in its infancy, which is Gen Agent. And I think there's some misconception between a Gen Agent and an agent, like a bot. We have a bot. It's Vanessa. It works really well. Being able to nurture leads, things like that are great. But Gen Agents are a little bit different because they can do multiple tasks. They use multiple forms of AI to go ahead and actually make its own decision on things. So it's a little bit different in that regards because it's like an agent that can think for itself with guardrails. You don't want to go too far. Otherwise, you play a little war games. But I think that's some of what you'll see in the future. And then you might see things like augmented VR, things like that I think would be cool because they make a lot of sense. Again, going back to things like agents, maybe future when computing power is a little bit better, you can have like Gen agents that, drive avatars and have personal assistants that look and act like real people that are bots.
Yeah. 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 I think the themes that I think about are more personalization, more convenience, and faster. Are really what come to mind when I'm thinking about dealership processes in the future enhanced by AI.
Yeah, I think you might also get some things along the lines of better like lead scoring, where it can analyze behavior, drive that all into the process that leads to more personalized engagement, and maybe having bots do a lot of that until they're ready for that, direct handoff to a salesperson or customer service rep, whoever it may be.
Yeah. Have you seen maybe I don't know if you've heard of this, but like there's these AI shopping agents that people will use to go and talk to different stores or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I just saw this example of one AI agent talking to another AI agent, and they switched their language to it was like a shorthand. I forgot what it was called, but it was like we couldn't understand it, but they could, and they got it done.
Yeah, there's actually a story of that with Facebook where Zuckerberg started his AI project, and Elon Musk back in the day warned him about it because he goes, listen, there's a lot of dangerous aspects of this. Like Google has a panic button to shut down their AI tool, like a legit panic button shuts down everything. But what Zuckerberg did is he went and started that AI lab, and after 3 months, they shut down the project because what you said, you had two different bots working in the system creating code, and they started to concatenate their code and shorten it to the point where the engineers did not understand what they were writing or what they were doing, and they shut the project down out of fear. And that's something you got to have guardrails on those projects because it can get pretty smart pretty fast.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think we're there yet for dealerships, so
yeah.
But it's definitely something to think about. All right, final question. What challenges do car dealerships face when, kind of integrating AI technologies? I'm going to add to that too. And, what are some first steps that car dealerships can take? Maybe they've heard about it. They're really interested in it. What are some first steps that a dealership can take to implement AI into their day-to-day? What are some of the challenges that they need to overcome?
Yeah, I mean, I think misperception is going to be the challenge. The other one would be muscle memory, and maybe a little bit of misinformation. There might be that apprehension, that fear of what's happening, or not having control because they think that AI can do whatever it wants when you put it into its system, like there are no guardrails. I think those are probably some of the apprehension that dealers have to get into the system. And then the other one are really our challenges, and that probably drives a lot of that apprehension as well. It's like, integration into my existing systems. How does that work? Am I going to struggle integrating that? Who takes care of this for me? Like they don't realize that a lot of this is just, hey, you roll it out like Copilot. We didn't really do anything. We just got access to it. The other thing is going to be, training and development, ensuring that, the teams that in the dealership, the staff, they're trained, they're comfortable using AI tools, and they're able to kind of overcome some of the hurdles that they see. And I think that's where we definitely have an advantage because, I mean, you and I demo all the time. We open and close with one thing, and that's, the most important things you can have are our people and our data. And that's really the truth. It's having that performance management team combined with the vast amount of first party data that we have, I think makes the adoption easier because it's easier to trust the outcome in those situations, which leads into really the data accuracy and the quality of that data. He who has the most data wins. I mean, that's the truth. And we have the largest, most reliable pool of first party data in the industry. And that's really crucial for an effective AI implementation. And that's probably why a lot of dealerships are a little bit fearful of it. They're not sure of that data quality. And that's something we specialize in.
Hey,
Yeah, I think, I'll add to whoever has the most data wins and say it's also whoever does I want to say like digests it most effectively and turns it into the best information.
Whoever manipulates the data the best or understands how to go about getting the most out of that data is going to be able to do the most with it, no doubt.
Yeah, like how can you dig through it and mine those gems of
Ask Copilot. That's what I do.
I know, like every day, that's what I do. Well, that's it for the questions, Mo. Thanks again. I really appreciate you taking your time out of your day. I know you're a super busy guy. For everybody watching, stay tuned. We're going to have more episodes. We'll be talking about all sorts of different stuff with dealership operations and how you can take your dealership to the next level. Thanks again, Mo, and have a good day, everybody.
Thanks, Tom.